What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. So today we're going to do something that I've been thinking about doing for a while. So I finally bought this Grin V7 universal torque arm for Regen hub motors. Okay, so this, my friends, is the most advanced torque arm that you can get for Regen hub motors. So it's from Grin Technologies. Right, so the reason that I need this, now this is kind of a, you're not going to need this unless you've got a Bafang G62 or some other kind of like Chinese hub motor that's not designed for regen. And then you weld the clutch inside of it, right? Like right here, you can see we've got the clutch assembly right here, that planetary gear carrier. And it's got all the planetary gears on it, but you can see right here there's these welds on the clutch part. So this part that's welded, usually it freewheels in one direction or just spins freely in one direction so that your bike can coast when you're not using the motor. And then when you give the motor power, it catches in the other direction so that the planetary gears can drive the wheel and make it go. Right? So they usually freewheel. But when you weld this clutch thing, you can do regenerative braking with geared hub motors. And that's what this video right here is about from Grin Technologies. So it's called How to Get Regen Braking from Your Geared Hub Motor. Lock that clutch. Okay? So just recently, I did a video where I kind of followed along. So I welded my clutch a while ago. And then I was just kind of been experimenting with it. I probably rode it for about 6 months, where I just welded the clutch, and then I didn't get any special torque arms, and I wasn't really doing anything special. Like I just welded the clutch and I've just been trying it out. But if you watch this video, which you should, if you're going to attempt this, you need to watch this whole entire video all the way through and understand it. Right? But, so there's this part, 1103, so it says axle wiggle, right? Like you need to watch this part and understand that your axle is going to be wiggling. Right? And so that's why we need this product, this torque arm, is when we make these motors do regen, the axle starts to like want to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth in all directions. And when the axle is wiggling like that, the axle nut can loosen up from the axle shifting back and forth. So if you're going to try this, make sure you watch this video. But so now I've finally, like I've done everything. I've followed this whole video. I've done everything except the final step that I haven't done is I never ponied up and bought this damn torque arm, but now I have. It's here. I have it in my possession. We've bought it. Actually, I need to do a coffee shout out because, let's see here, coffee shout out, because we had a very generous donor on Buy Me a Coffee that has made this possible. All right, so on my Buy Me a Coffee dashboard, I got a couple coffee shoutouts that we got to do recently here. So, let's see here. Since the last time we did a shoutout, we've got LY6982, $5 coffee donation 3 weeks ago. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Never seen that donor before, so that's a new coffee donation donor. All right, so then we've got Old Man with E-Bike. Very generous. 5 coffees 2 weeks ago. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate that. Always very generous with the coffee donations. Old Man with E-Bike. He's got a channel on YouTube as well. He's put some videos up. So thank you, my friend. And then 4 days ago, Whiskey 9 Ice. Big coffee donation. 14 coffees. That's 10. We've got 10 and then 4 from Whiskey 9 Ice. Massive coffee donation. Thank you very much, my friend. And Whiskey 9 Ice, he actually left me a message on this one and said, "Hey, my Wisconsin brother, let me buy you the V7 Universal E-Bike Torque Arm. Thanks again for testing out all of this stuff for us." Alright, so Whiskey 9 Ice bought 14 coffees and made this whole thing possible. So thank you very much, Whiskey 9 Ice. This whole video is sponsored by you. You paid for the torque arm, made it happen. So this is all thanks to Whiskey 9 Ice. And then just the other day, noinfofound came in. 5 coffees. 5 coffee donation from noinfofound. Coming in on the tail end of that donation from Whiskey 9 Ice. So we're getting a lot of support lately. I'm feeling the support, feeling the love. So thank you everyone who supports me on both Buy Me a Coffee and YouTube. I've also got a Discord now too. You can come hang out and talk if you want. So I just wanted to do those coffee shoutouts because Whiskey 9 Ice, noinfofound, oldmanwithebike, all of my coffee donors are who make this possible. All right, so this is what we bought. They made it happen. The coffee donors, they made it happen. So we ponied up. We paid Justin, and we've got this thing. And so you can buy it from Grin in Canada. So it's $55 if you buy it from Grin, but then you've got to pay $15 at least in shipping. So it's going to end up being $70 whether you order it on Amazon or not. Okay, so then we've got the product attachments. There's a manual. We're going to look at that. But first, let's look at this video. Because they've got a video on here, an installation video. Oh! Alright, here, let's start this over. I started watching it. Here's the installation video. Let's watch it. Alright, so at the beginning, it says, only a fool saddles up with a no good torque arm in a welded clutch regen motor, that is. So guys, I think this whole V7 regen torque arm, I think it's just like a grand conspiracy by Justin to convince people to weld their clutches, because then they'll need to buy this torque arm from him. So it's all a grand conspiracy, but I still appreciate that this torque arm exists and that we can buy this as an option to do regen on our janky Chinese e-bike motors. So let's keep going. Only a fool saddles up. No good torque arm. Let's play the video. Here it is. Now look at this. You don't want one of these $10 Amazon.com torque arms when you're doing this, guys. Trust me. Trust me. Like, look at that axle nut. Look at that thing. Wiggling back and forth. Nuts are loosening up. Oh. Oh. So if that happens to you, your motor's gonna be done. You don't want that happening. So here's the torque arm. Let's watch this again. Oh. It's very serious, guys. Isn't that crazy? How can the clamping force can break a rock? So let's go back a little bit. So it's made for both 12mm and 14mm axles. So you got to make sure that you buy the correct size for your motor's axle, because it needs to fit on there snugly. Tightest possible fit. My motor's a 12mm axle, so that's the one that I've got. So how this thing works is it's got these grade 12 bolts that clamp down on that clamping block, and then that thing is actually like clamping and pinching your axle so that there's up to 2,000 pounds of clamping force preventing that axle from going back and forth when you do regen and back. So this is what we need if we want to do regen with our Chinese hub motor, is we got to get one of these really good torque arms that can hold the axle perfectly still, very forcefully and strong. So it's got this splined arm interface, so you can do any orientation angle. So you can make sure that the torque arm goes onto your bike at whatever angle you need it to. It's got the J swoop so that it clears your suspension fork. But what I have found is if you use fat bike suspension forks, a lot of the times these torque arms will not fit. So beware, if you're going to try and use this on a front fork, it might be a little bit tricky to fit it on your front fork. Alright, so you got to make sure that your motor is compatible, so you need at least 20 millimeters of exposed threads outside of the dropouts. Right, so that you can fit the torque arm clamping block on there as well as the nut. Still need the nut on there. So then when we're putting it on our motor, we want to put it on the side of the motor that has the solid axle, where the cable is not coming out. So on my bike, that's on the drive side, is the side that has the strong axle, the solid one, and then my cable exits over on the brake, the left non-drive side. So I'm going to want to put mine on the drive side with the strong axle. So then your axle needs 10 millimeter flats, which most of these have. It's like a M12 axle, or like sometimes they have M14 axles, but then the flats on them are made 10 millimeters so that they can fit up into like 10 millimeter quick release bike frames. So you got to have 10 millimeter flats. So it's basically like Fang hub motors, right? That's how they come. Mine is kind of like this, back on the rear of the bike, kind of right by the derailleur. I'm going to have to orient mine kind of in the same way. So if you're putting this torque arm on a front motor, you want to make sure that the washers clear the lower lip. So you got to use these little spacers to make sure that you space out that clamping block so that it clears that lower lip, right? So it looks like in this case, 1 millimeter is not enough, 3 millimeters too wide, and then it looks like they use 2 millimeter spacer here in the middle to fit the best. Alright, so it looks like the first thing that we want to do is, so you want to get your little, you want to get that little piece lined up, and then so you got to snug the axle nuts lightly to seat the clamping block all the way down. So it seems like we got to snug everything up, and then I imagine we clamp down those bolts. Well, it says tighten to 12 Newton meters, so that's really tight. It's on those graded bolts on the clamping block. And then it looks like you clamp down all of the other stuff just to normal tightness. So it says reef the axle nut to at least 60 Newton meters. What does reef mean? Is that some kind of Canadian slang for, like, I don't know. That's weird. You know what else is weird is my hair right now. Holy buckets. Let's keep going. Snapping an axle. That was connected to the torque arm. Wow. They say it's a bit of a pain to install, but pulls your axle like nothing else. It certainly looks like it. So this is the key bit, guys, this last little nugget. So if your Chinese motor relies on axle flats and you still want powerful regen, Grin's V7 is the only game in town. And through my extensive research and development, I have came to the conclusion that Justin is correct. And this, if you want to do regen with the Bafang G62 hub motor with a welded clutch, you're probably going to need this torque arm, and it's like the only product that exists that can get the job done here. So I've ordered this thing on Amazon. Thanks again to my Buy Me a Coffee supporters. Thank you very much. So I've ordered this thing on Amazon. We've got it here right now. Right here, right now. It's finally here. And let's go crack it open and put it on the bike and see how it works. All right, guys, so let's unbox this thing. I bought it, finally. It's right here. Here we go. I've also got the manual on my phone here that we can look at. All right, we're gonna open this baby up. Grintech V7 Regen Torque Arm. Here we come. Big thanks to all my coffee supporters who made this possible, especially Whiskey 9 Ice, with his very generous contribution, record-setting contribution by Whiskey 9 Ice. Thank you very much. Let's see what's in here. Let's unbox it, shall we? All right, so here it is. Here's all the bits and bobs that come with the kit. It seems like everything's just kind of loosey-goosey in there, except for the arm looks like it's got some twisty ties holding it on there. All right, so let's see here. Where's my phone? All right, so here's the user manual. Thank you for the purchase of Grin Technologies Torque Arm V7. This device helps positively lock M12 axles on regen-capable hub motors against the back and forth rotation caused from alternating forward and reverse torques. So we have our solid machined clamping block of hardened 17-4 stainless steel. So that's this chunk right here. Let's take that baby out of here. It looks like everything got jostled around at Amazon. In the Amazon. Let's look at this thing. Wow. So there is, let's get this twister off of here. So there is the solid machined clamping block. Look at that thing, boys. Wow. So we got the, it's good to see that Jeff Bezos sent me the correct 12mm axle version of it. And then look at this side. Wow. So there's the threads where those bolts go. And then here's this chunk that bites into the rest of the torque arm. The splined interface. That's some shiny metal, boys. Alright, so we got that. What else do we have? So we've got graded bolts. Let's see here. Let's look at one of these bolts. The graded bolts apply over 2,000 pounds of clamping force. So what do they say on them? It seems to say, is it VFS? And then 12.9. Perhaps? I don't know. It's very hard to read what the bullets say, but here they are. These are apparently very high graded bolts. And so we've got two of those guys. And then these little buddies go into here. It's my understanding. I don't know if you gotta grease these guys or what. I'm just gonna throw them in here for starters. Alright, so we got those started in there. Okay, so then what else do we have in here? 11mm thickness ensures maximum engagement with axle flats. So this guy, this chunk that hooks onto the axle, it's 11mm thick. So then we've got splined arm interface for easy orientation. We talked about that a little bit. Versatile design works with both front and rear motors. Deep J curve avoids interference with fender and rack eyelets. All stainless steel for excellent corrosion resistance. Designed, tested, and manufactured in Canada. Alright, so let's keep going. So we've got the shrink wrap. The shrink wrappers that we're going to put on the... I actually don't know if I'm going to use the hose clamps in this thing. I've already got... GoPro, are you overheating already, buddy? GoPro. GoPro, I see you're still on GoPro. What are you doing? So I've got this torque arm on my bike already. This, what is this? Like the V6 one? So I think it's got a very similar, like the J curved arm on this one. So I might just use the what is this thing? The frame clamp base and the swivel bracket. And the hose clamps that I've already got right here, because this torque arm is very similar. I think I can just take the arm and the clamping block and these new axle nuts, and then just kind of put the new arm piece on here, and I can use the existing the frame clamp base and swivel bracket that I've got on here already. So I don't think I'm going to use these hose clamps. I think we just got to get in here and get out the pieces that I'm going to need. So there's this little like square piece, this clamping block thing. And so this must go into this piece somehow. Let's see. So it seems like this piece just goes in here. Like this, perhaps. Get that lined up over here. Very tight fit. Oh, we better back these bolts out, or the screws out a little bit. Alright, so... And it seems like this piece must go in here somehow. Very tight squeeze. Oh, it's not going in there straight. Is there a certain way it's gotta go? Let's see here. I'm not sure how you get this piece in here. This part, it's a go in here like this. Oh, there we go. I see. Weird. That is such a wacky thing, man. Interesting. That was confusing. There's on this little block thing, it was like there were 3 corners that were rounded, and then one corner wasn't rounded, and I wasn't sure if it was like machined incorrectly or what, but it seems like that is how it's supposed to go in there. We might have to read the directions on that part. Like, I was just kind of eyeballing it together, trying to make it happen. Alright. So as long as this thing's staying in there, that's good for now. I don't think that's going anywhere. Alright. So then we've got these. So we're going to need this clamping block. We're going to need these axle nuts with the nylon locking part on them. So I'll use these guys instead of these big old lunkers that come with the motor. I think the threads on I think these must be aluminum or something, these axle nuts that come with the motor. So I'm sure the threads on these guys can handle a lot more. These appear to be stainless steel of some kind. It says A2-70. Alright, so then let's take the arm, let's take this big piece of paper out of here with the main thing, the main arm. Here it is. Let's get this guy out of here. Oh. And this is the manual also, so I guess it comes with a printed out manual inside of here. So let's look at this packaging. So it says Torque Arm V7, and this is a 12mm one. Also comes in 14mm. And we are going to do the, it doesn't show it here, but we're going to do the above the chainstay version. Like you can see right here. Hopefully I can still fit this thing on there in the same fashion. I mean, it seems like the arm is almost identical to that other one, except this part is a little bit bigger. Man, this thing got really kind of scraped up here. Interesting. Alright, so we're taking this off. So right here it says grade 12.9 bolts apply over 1,500 pounds of clamping force to axle flats. But in the manual right here it says 2,000 pounds. So what is it, Justin? Tell me the truth. Alright, so we can scan this QR for installation video. I like that. Alright, so this is just like a cardboard insert. Alright, so here's the instructions that I've also got on my phone. So is there anything else that we need out of here? So basically how we're gonna do this on my bike is, I think this is gonna go like this, kind of like how my existing torque arm goes on here. But then this piece, I think, needs to go something like, I'm gonna have to take the wheel, get the wheel, all the axle nut hardware. This thing's probably gonna be something like this maybe. I'm not gonna pound this all together yet. We really gotta, it doesn't even, it's a very tight fit. These splines on this one actually look a lot better machined than the splines on this V6 torque arm, so I don't know. This thing, the tolerances on this seem like they're very tight. Whereas that other V6 torque arm, they didn't seem quite as nice and as tight. Alright, so I think all of this mounting hardware and stuff, like I don't think I'm going to use any of this because I already have the same, basically the same exact thing. And from that V7 torque arm, it's just already hose clamped on here, and the frame base swivel bracket thing and all that stuff is already on there. Alright. So I'm gonna get the wheel, the axle nuts off, and I'm gonna get the bike down so that we can start getting this thing on there. Alright, so I loosened up a bunch of the torque arm hardware that's on here. So now let's, oh man, axle nuts are on there tight. Oh, buddy. So now I'm gonna loosen up the axle nuts. Oh, we better disconnect all these zip ties over here first. Because we're dropping this wheel out. We're dropping it down. So I can drop out. Now let's keep loosening. There you go, that guy's coming off of there. Ooh! It's on there. Ooh! There we go. Alright, so let's get this stuff off. Get the derailleur out of the way here. Bring it. Oh yeah, we've got some torque arms over here we gotta get off of there. See how this little piece just falls off of my other torque arm? Like, I don't think this one is machined quite as nicely, or else it just shifts around. I don't know. It doesn't seem like that one's as nice as the V7 torque arm. Let's get this torque arm off of here. Get this coming down. Get the chain out of the way. There we go. Okay. So now let's take inventory here. So this is what I was using before. It was like these two torque arms. Ooh. So let's see here. So this, what is this, a V4 torque arm? So this is the one I've had the longest, I think. The V4 one. This is what I started out with. I think my first V4 one was actually this other one. I had two of these. I had one of these on each side. Yeah, this looks like my first one because it's all chewed up. You can see it's kind of chewed up in there. So I've got a couple of these. They've served me well. I think I'll still use one of them just to hold the axle onto the bike on the brake rotor side. So I'll probably use this one maybe, whichever one isn't chewed up. Probably this one. Let's see here. Let's not lose this bolt. Alright, so we've got all kinds of hardware that I need to put in one unified location. So then here's my V6 torque arm. This is the old one. Oh. Oh. So this one, like this piece, I think maybe when I first got it, I really had to pound it in there, but then like after a while, it just kind of presses in there. I don't know, maybe it's still kind of tight. I don't know. It's kind of a weird deal. These things. I'm sure it doesn't take much to get in there. Maybe a mallet. Maybe it's still kind of a tight fit in there. But anyways, we're not using this one anymore. So let's see here. See, how does that piece come falling out? But then I've got to... pound it back in there. That's weird. But so this one was definitely putting in some work too when I was doing regen. Let's see, can we get the light on that thing? Oh. It was doing some work down in there. Got kind of chewed up a little bit. There's a little chunk of something that was in there. I don't know, paint maybe? Anyways, that's an old torque arm. Let's get the new one. We gotta fit this baby on here. So let's see. So I'm gonna take my little clamping block thing and let's see. So we gotta, okay, so I gotta back the screws out even more here, it seems. Let's see here. Okay. You basically got to back the screws out like all the way almost. Interesting. So there's the block. So let's see. I'll probably bring this thing up into the wheels just like this. And then get the block going on there and then see which orientation we got to put this thing. So let's lift this wheel up and get it going back. Let's get the kickstand out of the way over here on this side. Let's get the wheel coming back up on this side. Get this. Okay, and then get this derailleur out of the way. The gears and so on. Let's get the dropouts aiming back up towards the axle going back up towards the dropouts. Let's see here. So is this okay? Let's get it back up into the dropouts here. Let's see. All right, so then this should probably go on here. GoPro, can you see these things? All right, so this should go something like, let's see here. So maybe we should tighten up these little buddies just slightly. Let's see. What size are these bolts? Are these like a 4, like a 3 or something? Man, those bolts really clamp onto that thing, buddy. I don't think you want to like clamp them on yet, but I want to just get it to the point where we can see like... Alright guys, so I'm encountering my first little stumbling block here with the installation. So I've got the clamping block on the dropouts and it's kind of clamped down so that it's right where it's going to be, its final spot, right, when we hook this thing on there. But then this thing, this part right here is like bigger than the clamping block. And so it goes out past the clamping block a little bit, and so it's actually touching, it's coming in contact with my Shimano Acera derailleur. Like this, the clamping block is pretty close to the derailleur, but then like when I'm trying to put this piece on there, like it's just like not gonna fit right now. The derailleur is in the way, and I would say, man, like we probably need like a couple millimeters or something, like out of the way here. So I'm gonna see if I can't just file down my derailleur a little bit right here. Man, it looks like it's practically touching the derailleur actually. So I don't know. Yeah, my derailleur, it doesn't seem like, well, I don't think the derailleur needs to go up that way anymore, so I don't think that it's a problem. I think the derailleur can move around. Man, it is such a tight fit between my derailleur and this clamping block. Like, it does work, but there's just like no extra room there. So it's a very tight fit right there between the derailleur and that clamping block. Like, I can barely see the light of day through right here. So I'm gonna have to file that down, I think, because the clamping block is practically touching the derailleur. So we're gonna have to file down a little bit of the derailleur, maybe a couple millimeters. I hope this thing doesn't have a problem. All right, so you can see all like the numbers and the lines and everything on here, hopefully. But I'm basically lining this up how I had it. So I want the B to be lining up with the -4 on the torque arm, and then I'm just gonna kind of I'm gonna put this thing flat on the ground here with the clamping block in place where I want it. And then I'm just gonna smash it down on there. Oh, what just happened? Came loose on me. Oh my god, let's see. So we got this piece coming over here, we got this piece coming right here. So let's see, B -4. Okay, let's put this. Alright guys, so the lighting in the garage out here and this other garage isn't the best, but so what I've had to do is put this thing into a vise, make sure that those bolts are like clearing everything, and then I am just malleting it together. That's what I've had to do, because that thing, and then once you put these pieces together, I don't know if you can get them apart. These pieces of this torque arm fit together really tightly. Holy buckets. Let's just make sure it's all together. I think it's on there. Oh, 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 oh. Oh. There we go. Excellent. Looking good, looking good. There we go. So I think you're going to need a vise and a mallet for that part. Alright guys, so now I've got this thing pounded in here. It's all one piece. You want to make sure that you figured out which spot you want that piece to go in before you slam it in there, because I have no idea how you would get these two parts back apart. No clue how they would come back apart because it was very difficult to get them together. So yeah, and it still looks like I need to pound mine on here a little bit more. It's like it's not on there all the way. All right, so I just did a little final malleting to get, I think it's on there all the way. And I don't know how you would ever get that piece back apart. So make sure that you like test fit it and did the right measurement here so that it aligns with the dropouts on your axle. Otherwise, you might have problems taking that piece back apart. So I'm just trying to see if, so is this thing clearing my Shimano Acera now? Let's see here. I don't know. Seems like I've got to get the axle nuts tightened back on here because the frame kind of like twists and stuff. Let's see. So let's get a big spacer. Let's see. Do we have enough threads here to hold this whole? I guess we do. Perfect. We can just use this one nylock nut on here maybe. Let's see here. Is this going to be better to use this? It's probably better to use a washer, isn't it? And we still got, actually, I don't know. I think we want to get that nylon nut on there all the way. I think once I thread everything together, there's going to be more, it's going to squeeze the frame together. And then there's probably, I think I'll probably have plenty of room for this nylon nut, even with that washer on there. So let's get this nylon nut going on over here. Man, seems like kind of a tight squeeze there. What's going on? Did it hit the nylon already? hopefully this nut, hopefully that thread's on there. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's going on there. It's just a nice fresh new nut on some old derelict threads. It's going on there nicely. So it's not pulling. All right, so I'm gonna tighten up these bolts here so that there's this clamping block thing. Is clamping down properly? Let's see. I still don't know if this torque arm is clearing my derailleur. We gotta check that, but I need to fasten these nuts on there more to find out. Let's keep going. Is it touching the derailleur yet? It does seem like, man, it seems like the torque arm is definitely touching the derailleur now. So, alright guys, well, so I've taken my derailleur off of the dropout here because I just want to continue with this installation. Like, this thing is going on here one way or another. So, I think I might have to make a modification to my derailleur in order for it to fit on here. But like for right now, I just want to make this damn video and get this thing fitted on here. So the derailleur is out of the way now. So now I'm gonna get my clamping block on here. Okay, let's see here. GoPro, are you going or are you not going? You are going. All right, installation guide. So let's make sure that we did this right. So M12 by 1.25 axle. All right, so we determined the install position. I've got the frame clamp installed already from my previous torque arm. We've determined the arm angle. I've set the arm onto the clamp block. It would be very hard to get that thing in there with a vise. So let's keep going. Or to get that thing in there with just a hammer. I'm pretty sure you need a vise to get it started. Like, so then I've got everything installing into the dropouts. So then it's saying the one thing I didn't do, where does it tell you to tighten up the clamping bolts in this instructions? Determine install position, assemble frame clamp, determine arm angle, set arm onto clamp block, reinstall hardware. Oh, so it says right here 10 to 20 Newton meters on, or no, it says 12 Newton meters on these guys. And that's very tight for these little nuts. All right. So I'm going to tighten those guys on there. More. It's kind of alternating between the two clamping blocks. It's kind of interesting how these bolts can push on that thing so hard with that clamping force. I mean, I guess they're supposed to go really tight. Like as I'm alternating back and forth, I can kind of like, it's still going. I can feel it still going here. It'll be very interesting to see if the clamping force of these bolts can keep my axle from wiggling around. It's also going to be very interesting to see how I get my derailleur back on the bike, because that was a little bit of a hiccup that I had not planned for. We might be riding around without a derailleur to test this out, because I don't know what's going to happen with that. All right, so these things are starting to get pretty tight, I would say. All right, so let's carry on with other things now. I'm gonna come back to these bolts and revisit them and make sure they're nice and tight, but like you got to keep alternating back and forth between these bolts until they are very tight, buddy. All right. So that should be that. I think I'm going to get this torque arm off of there. Like, we don't need that one anymore, do we? So once again, guys, like we've got the hose clamps and the clamping block and all of that stuff, that this part that's on the chainstay right here that the torque arm hooks onto, like that, I already had from my previous torque arm because it's identical. But so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get this torque arm off of here because I don't need two torque arms over here anymore, and these hose clamps are like dangerously sharp, and yeah, I want to get this one off of here. Man, so I just started undoing these hose clamps, and like this hose clamp is just like completely stretched out and like derelict. Anything with hose clamps, you gotta check on once in a while, because man, it's going to be interesting to see the impression that this torque arm has left on my frame underneath here. I think I'm going to have to cut these hose clamps off, because this one, like, the screw came out of it and it is just like stuck on there. Alright guys, we're getting out the tin snips to cut off my old hose clamps. Holy buckets, buddy. Oh! Oh! I didn't cut anything I wasn't supposed to there. Let's try and get this thing up out of here. There we go. There, it's coming. Let's see here. There we go. Get that garbage out of here. Wow, that was really doing a number. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not too bad. A little bit of a dent in the frame from the torque arm. Wow. All right, let's get this torque arm. Oh my goodness. That torque arm had to be destructively removed. Holy buckets. Wow. That hose clamp. Torque arm is fine. Hose clamp is not. Alright. So we got that thing off of there. A little bit of a... Alright guys, so at this point, I'm going to tighten up this little buddy right here. Oops. So I'm using my little mini crescent wrench on the back here. I think it's a 10 millimeter, I don't know. And then start twisting this guy together. One thing I am going to do here is realign. I'm going to loosen up this little metal piece right here on the that this arm clamps to. So then I'm going to make it... What the... Alright guys, so I'm just tightening up the mounting hardware that's like over here-ish. Gotta fasten this little thing up down here. Alright guys, well, installing torque arms is too much action for my GoPro. It can't seem to handle the heat. But so you see how there's this damn scrape mark right here? That's from the torque arm scraping on my derailleur. So, I mean, I don't know what to do about this. Alright, so we're back out in the frigid garage at the belt sander. We've got to sand this puppy down a little bit more. So here we go. I can see kind of where it was scraping. Alright, here we go. Hoping that does it. Alright guys, here's an updated look at my modified Shimano Acera derailleur with the torque arm clearance modification applied to it. Hopefully it's still functional and hopefully it fits on there. Now, let's find out. This is a fun one. These are fun times. Now I just wonder what Whiskey 9 Ice would have done. Had he been here? Would he have just told me to grind off my torque arm, or would he have been grinding at my derailleur as well? I would rather grind at my my $15 derailleur that was probably due for an upgrade anyways than grinding at my torque arm that Whiskey 9 Ice just bought me. All right, so let's get this thing threading in there. Oh man, it's we gotta remove more material. It seems like more material towards the outside of it. I took a bunch of material off over here, but then I kind of left some over here, and we gotta go take more off, it looks like. Holy buckets. All right. Alright guys, so I used a belt sander to grind down the top of my Shimano Acera, maybe possibly like slightly farther than I should have. But I don't know. I don't know if this is good or if this is bad. Like, it's not looking good. I grinded through the top down to whatever is inside of it. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just gonna get the chain back on there. And yeah, we're just gonna see what happens. I might put some JB weld on top of this. I don't know, to maybe like hold it together better. I don't know if it's gonna hang on there or what. We're just gonna have to see what's gonna happen with this derailleur. But it fits on there now, so I think we should be okay. Let's get this going. All right, so we got our chain going back on here. There we go. And then we just gotta get the chain up onto the gears, maybe. And then also, let's get the shift cable going back in here. All right, guys, after a ridiculous amount of belt sanding, I finally cleared a gap here where my derailleur can like move around, and hopefully it doesn't just break right here. I don't know. I mean, I really had to go to town with that belt sander to remove several millimeters of material from this so that it could go on here and articulate around. And I'm hoping that it still works and doesn't like break off. So this is going to be the second time that I have put this thing back on here. I'm hoping that this time is the trick. Let's get this chain going back on here. Let's see how the pedaling is going. We're in 7th gear. 6th. 5th. 4th. 3rd. 2nd. 1st. Nice. All right. Well, we got the derailleur on there. Man, it is not pretty. Let me know in the comments, boys. Is my Acera gonna survive? Or is this thing just gonna like fall apart one day? Let me know. It looks pretty sketchy. It looks like it could just crumble apart at any moment. Yeah. But, so, I think we got it on there, boys. I think we got it on there. I'm hoping that we're all good. Let's see here. Yep, it seems like we've got enough clearance on everything. All right, so I'm gonna get this thing all like, I'm gonna check everything over. We're gonna double check everything. Like my shift cable here looks like it's coming like all twisted. I gotta redo my shift cable. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I'm gonna go out and test drive this quickly here. It's like kind of sketchy and cold and icy out. It's winter. I don't even know if you can hear me because I have so many clothes on. We're just gonna go for a short ride and try doing a little bit of regen. I gotta be careful though, because regen, you can definitely still lock up your tire and skid out. But the torque arm seems to be working well. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I have a whole bunch of clothes on because it is very cold out. I think it's like 15 or 20 degrees out Fahrenheit, so it's cold. So let's try a little bit of regen here on a dusting of snow. What happens? Didn't skid out. So far so good. I don't see any other e-bike tracks. Ever since winter came, I've been kind of taking a break because it got really cold all of a sudden, buddy. But the torque arm's feeling good. Not ideal temperatures for testing. For testing regen with the torque arm. Let's see here. Regen seems like it's working pretty nicely. This torque arm feels much more secure than my other ones. I feel a lot more confident doing regen on the pavement than on the snow. So how's everybody doing? It does work pretty good in the snow. It seems like as long as you keep the bike upright and you're not like turning at all when you do regen, it can stop pretty good in a little bit of snow. Let's go this way. We're just going for a short ride to test this out because my battery, I haven't done any winter riding yet, so we're still kind of getting everything set up for winter. I let a little bit of pressure out of my tires. It looks like they might have salted the roads already, because it's pretty slushy out on the road, but the temperature is below freezing. We gotta watch out for ice patches. And we need to allow more distance for stopping.
It seems to be working nicely. I've been having this anomaly with my rear tire, the rear tube. There's like a puncture that's kind of like, it's kind of like up towards the sidewall. It's not in the tread, and then the flat out is having some trouble sealing the puncture. And it's sealed right now, but it's kind of like a slow, funny leak. Let's see if my derailleur can still work after I did that modification. There we go. We're pedaling. Oh, 7th gear. I gotta get the handlebar mitts on my bike because the Chinese heated gloves are not enough. They're 20 degrees. Probably gonna go take a look at the park and see what's going on. And then probably go back because my battery, I'm not sure how far we're gonna get with a cold battery. Go this way. Regen seems to have pretty good traction braking right here at least. It's maybe slipping just slightly when I slam on the Regen on the snow. It sounds kind of like it sounds a little bit different when I Regen brake on the snow. Let's see if we can get off the obstacle course here. There we go. We got off it. Nice work, Regen. What a day out. It's a cold zone out here. When sand gets frozen, it's quite hard. go back down it here. A little bit of an incline. The regen. Oh, it's just regened me right down it. Nice. So this is kind of the first snow of the season here. It hasn't there hasn't been a lot of like melting and thawing and like ice all over the place yet. We're just getting started. Regen works better than expected on the snow. I think you still have to be careful though. Is this closed off? Why is that there like that? Why is that bike rack in the way? We're 40, what are we at here? 40 something volts? 47, 46, 47. I'm gonna have to get the handlebar mitts on here because my fingers are cold even with the Chinese heater gloves. It's time to start going home. It feels like the battery is struggling a little bit. Oh. I'm glad my derailleur still works. It seems like my tire is losing air. We gotta go back. Time to go back. Gently. Oh. Alright guys, well it was fun. I might have overdone it here a little bit. I gotta put a new tube in my tire. Yeah, I might be walking back here. Now it seems like we're running out of air here. Alright guys, well it's been a fun ride. I don't know what's gonna happen here. We might be walking it back, I don't know. This isn't good. Fuck. Alright guys, well that's it for this video. We've got, man, I need a tire for that.
Are you going far?
No, just right over here.
Okay. You want to throw it in?
Yeah, that's fine.
Forwards, it can't go anywhere. There. And it
like
shuts.
Perfect fit. Oh man.
Flat tire?
Yeah, I had sealant in my tube, and I have a lot of confidence in it in the summer, but then in the winter, like everything starts having problems.
Yeah. I'm Gustav.
Phil.
Phil, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. I appreciate it. It's very thoughtful of you.
Yeah, well, I've been there. You know, you're like, oh. And it's not warm enough that you're just like, oh, let me fix this on the spot.
Yeah, I've got heated gloves and stuff on, but so I live, it's, if we go down Hanley, kind of like across the roundabout, like it's just right there.
Oh, in the, okay, by the new,
kind of just down the roundabout, down Hanley, and just like right across the street down there.
yeah.
So a couple minutes away.
Awesome, thank you.
Have a good one. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Well, that is camera's still rolling. All right, guys. Well, that is the Grin V7 torque arm. It held on. It held the. It worked really good until I got a flat tire. So we're gonna, and then luckily I got a ride home from Gustav. Thank goodness. Shout out to Gustav for the ride home. Oh my God. How cold is it outside? Come on, watch. It says it's like 22 degrees out. So Gustav definitely saved me a cold walk home there. So I appreciate that. Shout out to Gustav. Shout out to all of my coffee supporters. Whiskey 9 Ice made it happen. Whiskey 9 Ice is the man. He's the man. We got this thing on there. We got it all installed. Noinfofound. Old Man with the e-bike. Everybody on Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you very much for supporting my endeavors. You can also support me just by liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. And so, yeah, now I have to fix a flat tire. But that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the V7 Regen torque arm. I'm kind of curious if this thing... I think I might need to secure it right here a little bit better. It seems like it's really secure right here, but now it seems like potentially like this part right here where it hooks onto this bracket on the chainstay, like I might need to put some new hose clamps or something on there and kind of refresh this a little bit, but for the most part it felt rock solid. So let's see here. Regen on. So I want to see if I can feel anything shifting around here, like there's still like a little bit of a boot, like I can still kind of feel some force, like when it's hitting the Regen brake. It's almost just like kind of a vibration. Like I don't think anything is like moving around at all, but
it's still impactful. Like, there's a lot of force being contained in that torque arm. But yeah, I mean, it seems like it's working really well, so appreciate it, Whiskey 9 Ice. Appreciate it very much. It's kind of like the finishing touch on this bike, so excellent. All right, well, this bike needs to dry off. I need to go cool down because I am actually like extremely hot. And I thank you guys for watching and coming along on this adventure where I got a ride home inadvertently. Alright, this video is too long. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more on the e-bike builder channel. Oh my goodness, that was something else.